Many of the lists we see, and people in general, often talk about which finishing move is the best. Sometimes it's the top finishers in wrestling history. Most times it's the top finishers in the game today, but there's one thing that I'm a bit surprised about: there's also a few moves that are usually missing from these lists. That said, I'm sure the reason for this is for a lack of emphasis. Moves aren't as hyped because the people using them aren't considered as special. Sometimes they're not as good, maybe they don't execute it to its full effect. Or maybe their characters are a bit too heelish. Well, some finishers can be a bit uninspiring, while others have simply been passed down too many times to remain important. However, some truly excellent finishers have been disregarded by fans as well. Despite belonging to legends and Hall of Famers, these 5 finishers just aren't remembered as fondly as they should be. Starting at number 5 is the Steiner screwdriver. Most wrestling fans confuse this move with the tombstone pile driver made popular by the Dead Man. Impactful slams and suplexes were a staple of the Steiner's offensive repertoire. One move in particular that left fans in awe was Scott Steiner's Steiner screwdriver. It started out as a vertical suplex, but ended as a sit-down tombstone pile driver. Steiner wouldn't get to use the move often, but whenever he did, fans always enjoyed it. Going down at number 4 is the Gringo Killer. Some finishers are not commonly used due to the perceived danger associated with the maneuver. The Vert Breaker, or as some TNA fans know it, the Gringo Killer, is a great example of that. Most commonly used by Shane Helms and Homicide, the move certainly toes the line between safety and danger. It starts by hooking an opponent's arms. After flipping the opponent and positioning them upside down, one drops to their backside, driving the opponent's neck and back down in the process. It's not the safest finisher to execute, which explains its lack of common use. Up on the 3rd position is the Brock Lock. It's facts. But the Brock Lock is pretty underrated. When Brock Lesnar hit the wrestling scene in 2002, he quickly proved that his reputation as the next big thing wasn't just clever marketing. Lesnar would have arguably the greatest rookie year in pro wrestling history. During that time, Lesnar would end matches with his wildly popular F5 finisher. Given his background though, it was a bit surprising that Lesnar never used a submission hold to end matches. That changed in 2003 when Lesnar began using a submission finisher called the Brock Lock. Lesnar would wrap his opponent's leg around his massive neck and lift, putting pressure on the knee. The move looked legitimately painful, especially when being applied by a beast of a man like Lesnar. At number 2 is the Cedric Alexander's lumbar check. Arguably one of the most underrated finishers in history, a move as sick as this does not deserve to be in that position. The term backbreaker is largely a lie. You're never going to actually break your back from Carlito drilling his knees into your spine. It is simply a neat phrase for announcers to use to emphasize the potential danger of taking such a move. The lumbar check, however, could believably break a back or two. Cedric Alexander, the innovator of the move, rose to prominence on the independent circuit through his use of it. It blew your mind the first time you saw it. Being lifted in the back suplex position and proceeding to drop rapidly spine first into 2 stiff knees, the lumbar check is unquestionably the epitome of an indie wrestling finisher. It's cool and awesome. Alexander's knees don't bend upon the opponent's back crashing across them. He keeps them straight throughout, ensuring full impact is met each time. Perched up on number 1 is the Black Mass. The Black Mass is a spinning heel kick that looks extremely painful, especially when sold well. Aleister Black was able to use it to great effect when he first came up to the main roster. The former NXT champion defeated several big names in NXT with the move. In AEW, the Black Mass has already been established as one of the strongest finishers. Black defeated the likes of Cesaro and Buddy Murphy using the move. Even the commentary team knows that when the kick lands on target, there is no going back. Black is a striking master with a background in martial arts, so the fact that he's incorporated this into his finisher could be why it's become so effective. Here is the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe and hit my bell icon to get more videos from this channel. As always, be safe, stay tuned and watch out for our next video.